I'm Debs Davis. I'm a Fifth Sense ambassador and trustee, and I also have congenital anosmia.
My name is Glynis Colesby, and I have anosmia. I'm a volunteer for Fifth Sense.
I'm Charlie. I run the Congenital Anosmia Support Group. It is primarily for people who identify as congenital anosmics, which means that you have never had a sense of smell.
I lost my sense of smell about 5 years ago after a head trauma and got very little support from my GP. But when I finally stumbled on the Fifth Sense website, I was just amazed by how much information was there. And through the Zoom sessions on Let's Talk Smell and Taste, I was just overwhelmed by the support that they provided. And everything they provided was what the NHS didn't. So I just felt that I hoped I could give something back and actually pay them back for some of the support they'd given me.
I originally started making TikToks in 2020 because I was in lockdown and bored, and that's what everyone was doing. So I was making TikToks, and obviously I was thinking about what things I could talk about. And my fun fact has always been that I don't have a sense of smell, so I led with that.
I first found Fifth Sense a few years ago in 2019, and I found that as an organisation, and particularly Duncan, were very, very generous with their time and with their expertise, and it made me want to become involved. And the more I became involved, the more I understood about my own experience and how similar that was to other people's, but also how different. And I really got a sense of, you know, what impact having anosmia can have for people, and it made me want to become more involved, to support and help people.
It came around to the Day of Disability on TikTok, and I did some research and I found Fifth Sense, and I reached out to them for some resources of things I could share on this Day of Disability, and it just went from there. And my primary reason for getting involved with the charity is I just don't want anyone else to feel as alone as I felt for years.
At the moment, the main thing I'm doing is sort of handing out leaflets and trying to raise awareness in my local area. So I've been posting leaflets in pharmacies, town halls, supermarkets, libraries, and trying to get people interested and aware of what Fifth Sense does, so that hopefully it will support them like they've already supported me.
On a regular basis, I'll attend the Let's Talk Smell and Taste events as a participant and as a support to that event, particularly the congenital anosmia event, as I'm a congenital anosmic. And we share experiences, offer support to people, offer information to people in those events, and that's very rewarding, not just because we're sharing expertise, but also because we are together with people who share the same experience as us too. What I've also done is offered conversations and support to parents, for example, where they have children who can't smell and have wanted a bit of support around what information they need, how they can live independently as they grow older, and that kind of thing. So generally dealing with or responding to enquiries that are made, and also coming to the regular Fifth Sense conferences every couple of years and speaking at those.
I spent most of my life thinking I was the only one in the world who couldn't smell. And if I wasn't the only one in the world, I was the only one who'd never been able to. And you don't realise how far away all of your friends and family are from you, and how big that bridge you're building is, until you find other people who are like you and you no longer have to do that, and the weight that lifts off you is incredible. So I just wanted to make sure that more people knew that they weren't alone in the world.
I have undertaken some training for facilitating groups, and hopefully that's something that we'll set up in the future.
Most of what I do is I run the Congenital Anosmic Support Group for the Let's Talk Smell and Taste events. So I facilitate this event, which is primarily for congenital anosmics, so people who have no recollection of ever being able to smell. We can argue about the diagnostic criteria as to whether or not you were born with it or lost it in the early years of life. However, the fundamental difference is, can you remember having one?